And welcome, it's Tim here from the server Joy, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install and set up a 1.2.5 Bukkit server. So the first thing you're going to need to do is go on the internet, go to the Notepad++ website and click on download, link will be in the description, and then click on Notepad install at the top one, and it will come up with a download down the bottom here. I'm just going to cancel it though. What you need to do is install it like you would with any other program. And then I'm not going to do that, sorry, because I've already got it installed, so it's going to waste time. But this is used for editing the config files that come with setting up a Bukkit server. Second thing you're going to need to do is go on the Bukkit website, again the link will be in the description, and click on recommended build for craftbukkit here, and then click on download craftbukkit recommended build. And then what it will say it was harmful to a computer. It's not, trust me, I've downloaded it many times. It's literally just because it's a jar file and they all come up like this because Windows sees them as dangerous, but they're not. So just keep and then it will start downloading. Whilst that's doing that, I'm going to create a folder where all of our server files are going to be stored. So I'll just call this YouTube, spelled properly. And then what you want to do is open up and drag in the jar and then rename it just craftbukkit. Next thing you want to do is open up a notepad and copy in this. It'll be in the description. What you need to do, I'll run you through in a second, is save it. I don't know why my default location is always this, but save it into your folder where you just put your craftbukkit.jar. So mine's YouTube. Open up and save it as start.bat. Doesn't matter about the first bit, but it needs to be .bat. So save it as that, and it'll pop up in here. Basically, what this is this determines how much gig of RAM your server is gonna use. And my laptop's got 6, so we'll put it down to 2. But obviously, you can bump that up to as much as possible. This here is the name of the jar file. It picks up the jar file from, and as I've just made you rename your craftbukkit jar to craftbukkit, this should work perfectly. So then what you need to do is just save if you've edited anything. If not, then just exit, and then double click the batch file that you've just created, and it will bring up a CMD window, and you will get a couple of fails because it hasn't loaded or hasn't found certain files, but it will then create them. As you can see, we have multiple files and folders that have just been created. And then what it sets up, it sets up the normal world, the nether, and then the end, and then it says it's done. So we're just gonna stop this. This window here is where you can manage and monitor your server. So what you want to do is you want to just stop this, and every time you want to stop your server, always type in stop, never just exit, because it doesn't save it. So once click stops, it will then save all the chunks, and then you just press any key to continue. And this here is all of the folders that you need for your Bukkit server. The first thing is we're just going to edit the server properties, and this is where Notepad++ comes in handy. You want to click right click, and then edit with Note++, and it will come up here. And basically here is the all of the default abilities that you can change with your server. So you can change the nether, you can change the world name, you can set the port. The default port is 25565. I suggest you leave it at this, or remember what port you put down, otherwise it's cause problems with port forwarding. You can put a new seed in, change the server IP, but I suggest you keep this blank because it picks up the server IP, it picks up your IP anyway, so leave that blank. The height build, you can set online mode. This needs to be true, it should be by default, but just check. PvP you can then enable and disable, so I'm going to disable because I don't like it. The default game mode, so 0 is obviously survival, 1 is creative. Max amount of players, I'm just going to put this to 100, but this can only, you can put whatever you want here, but the amount of players that will be able to connect before it starts lagging up, I do believe is 20 to every gigabyte of RAM that you let your server have. Spawn monsters, generate structures, viewing distance 10. This is a mission today. This is the text that will display underneath your server. So we're just going to change this to YouTube, and I'll show you where this is in a minute. So you can change this to the name of your server or anything, your name or your mate's names or anything. So just save this. You can change this whenever you want. It's always going to be in here. Then you have your banned IPs, banned players, and whitelist and ops. If you're going to use permissions, which I'll show you how to set up in a minute, ops you won't need, because you'll use permissions and change them, change the abilities that they have. So I wouldn't worry about that. Banned IPs and banned players and stuff like that can all be done in game, so you don't have to worry about editing them by hand. You can do if you wish, but sometimes if the spacing's not right, it won't work. So basically, the next thing you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to port forward. And port forwarding allows your mates or your players to connect to your server without being part of a Hamachi server. That's what makes Bukkit different. So what you need to do is you'll need to go to CMD and then type in ipconfig, and it'll bring up the list of all your connections. What you need to do is find your default gateway, and I do believe by default this is 192.168.0.1, but just check just in case. You also need to note down the IPv4 address, 192.168.0.3. That's what mine is at the moment. You need to note down that, so just minimize that for now. Open a new tab on your internet and type in your let me just, makes it easier for everyone to see what I'm doing then type in your default gateway into your URL search bar. Click enter. It will then ask you to log in to your router. What you need to do, by default I do believe this is admin and password, but I've changed mine, as you can see, because it's only 3 letters. If you changed it, log in. If you haven't, I do believe by default it's admin password. If it's not, go to your internet hosting people website and find out what that is, and then click login. Here is port forwarding. What you'll need to find, each router is different, but you'll need to find services or something along that line, and then what you need to do is click add custom service, and then names can be anything, so we'll just call that Minecraft. The type needs to be TCP UDP, and the start point, this is the server port that you set up in your server properties, so it needs to be the same as here, this one, 25565, which can be changed to several other ones. I think it's 2620 and 777, but default one is 2565. And obviously if you have more than one server running on that port, it will fail to bind port and it won't work. So you need to change the server port address each time you create a new server if you're running more than one at the same time. So, and then what you want to do is click apply, and then you have your new service set up. You also need to set up firewalls, so try and find somewhere along the lines on your router website called firewall rules. Then what you need to do is add a new firewall. So what you need to do is you need to find the service that you just created, the Minecraft. It should be the top one, but it might not be. Find it, and then this is where you need to type in your IP4 v4 address. So it'll be exactly the same as your default gateway, I do believe, but mine is 0.3 at the end. So find whatever the hell yours is and then type that in, 168.0.3, and then everything else always allow and any, and then apply, and then here you have your port forward and all set up. The one thing you always need to check for is it always allows. Always allows. It's completely necessary, otherwise people won't be able to connect. So let's just test this. So what you need to do to get people to join your server is type what's my IP into Google, and you'll find your IP address. And this is what you need to give to your friends or connect with. So let's just go into Minecraft. Let me just close this. Obviously you need to start up your server, so click start, and it will start everything up. And then what you need to do is click add new server, and then paste your IP address in, and then put the port with a colon to 5565, and this is going to be, I'm going to name this one YouTube, and this is where you'll see YouTube come up underneath. This is what you changed the message of the day in your server properties. Here, message of the day, this can be anything, kittens are cute or whatever. Change this to whatever you want. And then just to check that it's all working, as you can see it says 100 players here, click join server, and then it puts me in the server that I've just created. Here we are. And if I just switch over to the CMD, it should say here Tyke has connected, logged in with entry. So that's all port forwarded now, and the main part of your server is set up. Obviously it has no plugins in at the moment, like permissions or anything, but that's what I'm going to show you now. So let me just stop, and then obviously you get kicked because the server's no longer up. So what you need to do is go onto the Bukkit website and then click get plugins, and then let's find permissions X. Oh, it's Permissionsex. Go to the dev page. The link will be here in the description to this page, so you don't have to go through what I've just done, as it's a bit awkward. Download, and it will start downloading. Then what you need to do, where you need to put this, is open your folder, wherever you put that, and open up plugins, and copy. You don't need all of these, the main part of permissions is here, but if you want the chats to work and the colouring of the chat, then I suggest you copy all of them in. Copy all of the jar files into your plugins, start the server again, and it will start saying permissions is loaded, and it will load all that up. So let me just stop it, and now we should have all the folders that come with this. So there we go. Basically, next thing you need to do is chat manager, I do believe by default is disabled. Yeah, I don't know why. So always set that to true if you're going to set color codes and the permissions. So I'll just do that first. Next thing, permissions. This is the main part. It's the main plugin that I used to change quite regularly. This allows you to set ranks and allows you to set what each of those ranks are able to do. So if I want to create a class called Builder, that can change the game mode, and the default class amount of people that can, I don't know, only see the message of the day or something like that. So this is the main part. This allows set ranks in it. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You can edit this by doing it through Notepad++, but this is rather difficult as it has to be completely case sensitive. So what I used to do when I had my old server was use a YAML editor. Right, so this is the Bukkit permissions YAML helper, and this basically lays it out in a very simple, easy to read way, and also with the users here, so you can easily edit it, and then gives you the code up here, so you don't have to continually edit it by hand, which is rather difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this all as it is and create a new group. So obviously you can delete them or rename them however much you like. So I'm just going to call this one Builder, and then they're going to inherit from moderator. Let me just check I spelled that right. You know, always have a brilliant ability to be able to spell. And here is where it takes the permission nodes from other plugins like Essentials and stuff like that, which enables you to change your game mode. So once you put Essentials in, you can then start enabling and disabling permissions that ranks have. But as we don't have that at the moment, we're not going to go into too much detail of that, apart from this star is the ability to have everything. So for some reason, when it sets it up on this website, it sets it up to prefixes and suffixes incorrectly, so they won't work. So we're just going to get rid of them. But here is where all of the users are. So we're just going to create mine user rather than getting rid of all of them because there's loads of them. So let's gonna put, this is where you put the name of the player and which group they're in, and I want to obviously be in admins because it's my server, so let me just save that. There we go. And then this is what you need to copy in. You need to copy all of that here into your Notepad++. So this is where I can just quickly just get rid of everyone else I don't want here. So it's just me under the users. And as you can see, I put me in admin here. And admins class, where is that? Up top, sorry, yeah. I have everything, the star, they are everything. And as you can see here, it says admins are false. This means that it's not by default. Default is true. So this is the class that when someone first joins, they're gonna come into. And this can obviously be set with essentials, so you can have, you can use the tools, you can get the tool classes, you can use the buy and sell trade signs that are in essential signs, everything. And then the moderator can TP and TP here. And a new group, I haven't set up properly, but so let's just delete that. Right, then what you need to do is save. You can come off these. Then what you need to do is go to YouTube, start, and it will all set up properly. If you don't get any failures, then that's brilliant. It means it's all done properly. So I'm just going to join and show you how to, oh, wrong one, how to set up prefixes and suffixes in the game. So just log in. And there we are. That took a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But basically, if you just type plugins, you find the plugins that you're running at the moment. And at the moment we're running 3, the ones that I put in. So if you type in PX, this is the permissions in game. This PX help. Okay, never mind. I must have taken that out. This is the last time I've done this. Basically, if you type PX group and then the name, so mine's admins. I do believe it's got an S on the end. Yes, it has. Admins and then prefix, and then you do a and if this is where you can put the classic server protocol of Minecraft, the colors, by using the and symbol and C's red. I'll put the link in the description to that so you can find out different colors. Let's do a bracket and then admins and then close bracket, and then I do believe F is white again, so your name will come up in red, the admins bit, and then whatever you write will come up in white, just like normal. So enter, and it will say admins prefix set. So as I'm in the admins class, if I just type hello, as you can see, it's admins and then my name, and then it's all in white. And obviously those colors can be changed to have a white like, so you can have different classes with different color codes. Basically, PEX will then give you the list of the things that you can do in game and the different commands, so you can promote people and demote people and everything. There's loads of them, but obviously it's way too much to go through. So basically that's all set up there. The last thing I'm going to do is I got a couple of people ask this, was how to, rather than entering the IP, which can change as IPs are dynamic. So at the moment it's that, but if I go downstairs, my hang on a minute, my IP con, I forgot, my IPv4 address will change because I'm somewhere else in the house. So that will change to a 5 or something, which would mean the port forwarding that you set up would then also change. So then your server wouldn't be connected and people wouldn't be able to connect with that. So to stop all of this and allow people to always connect no matter where you are, and just in case your server IP changes, people can always connect, is a website called NoIP. Basically what this does is it sets you up with a domain name. So this is what I used to use, so I suggest that you sign up with this. Once you've signed in, go to your account, and this is where you want to click on add host. And with the default NoIP account, you are only allowed a certain number under the free domains of after bits. I don't know what they're called. Sorry. So I'm going to pick, let's just pick zapto.org, why not? And then call this Tim's YouTube test. Oh, Tim's YouTube test. And then everything should be then all set up for you. That's what you want. That's the host type you want. Your IP address that you want to put in there. And you can change these to whatever you want. Create host. And here we have it's all set up. It's all set up. It's all perfect. This is the domain that you yourself, sorry, I should put this now. You yourself will not be able to connect with this. So if I put this in here and click done, you yourself will not be able to connect to this. I'm not entirely sure why, but trust me, other people, if you give this to other people, they will be able to connect to this if it's all set up perfectly. So that's the last thing I wanted to show you, was how to set up that. So thanks for watching. Let me just close everything. Thanks for watching the Server of Joy's account on how to set up a Bukkit server 1.2.5. I will have lots of other videos on how to set up various plugins and stuff like that, so watch them, how to develop your Bukkit server. And yeah, cheers.